Day 2 of working on the garage mini split. Significantly colder. When I was doing the supports, it was like 60 degrees out. Day before Thanksgiving, now it's Black Friday, and it's windy and in the 30s. So I was thankful to be able to do all this when it was warm out. Anyway, we got our housing for our AC disconnect, electrical disconnect, and I need 3 feet of clearance in front, so I can't be behind the unit. Otherwise, I actually just might mount it to the back. So I got to make sure I'm clear of those lines coming up here. So we're going to go right about there on the wall. Again, I didn't want to mount the unit to this wall because it's field stone underneath the stucco, but smaller screws like this, I'll mostly just be in the outer stucco layer, so I'm not as worried about it. Got a little bit of wiggle in it, but I'm good with that. It's not going to go anywhere. That ain't going anywhere. We've got to run a conduit whip for the power from the electrical enclosure here over to here. To start, we'll take the plate cover off of here. They have these little rubber grommets in here. I don't really like those. I'm actually going to use a real liquid tight connector. So we're going to put this end in, and then I'll fish my wires through. Let's get this length where we want it. So this is liquid tight, flexible, non-metallic conduit, LFNC. Goes by Seal Tight and other brand names. But basically, to put your fitting on, you have the nut. That goes on first. You've got your black sleeve. It has a little indentation here. That goes towards the end. You put that on there. You take the rigid part that has your gasket and where your lock nut goes, stick that inside, get that in there nice and tight, and then the collar comes up, screws onto that, creates your liquid tight connection to the fitting, okay? And we're gonna knock a fitting out of the bottom here. And you just put your conduit fitting up through, put your lock nut over this, get it nice and tight. I don't know where my little fancy lock nut wrench is, so I'll just use a screwdriver to tighten that up a little bit. And you're good to go. Normally I would feed my conductors through this whip before I did all this, but in this case it's such a short run that I'm not really worried about it. So I don't know if you can read this, but I'll take a picture of it, put it on the screen in case you can't. Minimum circuit ampacity, 13 amps. The circuit ampacity on this nameplate tells you what size conductors you need. You only need number 14 conductors. The maximum fuse is 20 amps, so that's the biggest your circuit breaker can be. But most of the time, when you're running circuits, you say, oh, 20 amps, I need number 12. 15 amps, I need number 14 wire. The NEC Article 440 talks about specific requirements for air conditioning equipment like this. So you size your conductors for the circuit ampacity, and you size your circuit breaker for the maximum fuse, and it's different than general purpose receptacle or lighting branch circuits. Check out Mike Holt. I will put a link below to one of his videos, real short video that explains this. But I only need number 14 conductors. Now, I just so happen to have, it's the right length for what I need, and it's number 12 THWN. So I'm going to go ahead and use it, even though I don't really need it. You can oversize the conductors. There's no problem there. There we go. I would also recommend using stranded for this application. This is solid, but again, it's what I had laying around, and no sense in buying wire when I've got perfectly good wire here. So there we go. So we've got a wire management clamp there. I'm just taking that off for now. But we've got L1 and L2. And I'm going to crimp on some terminal connectors here. Make sure you get ones that are rated for your conductor size. Yeah, I'm not using this cable manager. Not helpful in this case. If I had stranded wire, I would. All right, so again, I'm not going through 16 inches of field stone. So I'm going to go up over the stone wall into the attic area. And I've got my hilariously long drill bit here. We're going to see where I come through on the other side if I go right here. Okay, we'll go check it out. The ceiling framing inside is about here, so I'm a little bit low. I'm gonna go... I'm just gonna go up to the next piece of lap siding right there, and that'll be good. Okay, I'm gonna do some PVC assembly inside here under my infrared heater. It's a little warmer. It's gonna be way warmer once this mini splits in. Anyway, you should come out of the bottom of the box for the best avoidance of water getting into the enclosure. I did that with the whip, but this would be really clunky if I tried to come out of the bottom for the feed from the circuit breaker back in the panel. So I'm just going to go out the side, and to try to mitigate it, I'm going to use a O-ring where the fitting goes into the box. But for now, I'm just using a little conduit stub. This is going to go into the box, and on the outside, I'm going to put this O-ring that I stole from a Seal-Tight fitting, and then I'll just put that on the inside of the box, this lock ring, and, you know, that'll keep the water out. But if you really want to make sure water doesn't get in your box, you should come out the bottom and loop up. So we're just going to knock out the side of the box here, and these are concentric, so you want to make sure you knock out the right size. Oh, man. This outer knockout's coming out too. I don't always like these concentric knockouts. We'll put our box in here. Cool. Right about there. All right, so we'll just dry fit our LB on here. We'll get the conduit mostly plumb here. Put my nipple through the wall there. We're glued in at the bottom, and we will put a conduit strap in up here at the top, right where it's up against the lap siding here. I'm going to need an intermediate support somewhere. I'm also going to need to paint my garage. Inside here, I've got a little bit of a tricky situation because I was right next to a stud. For now, I'll get my LB glued on here. We'll go inside to figure this out. Okay, we're upstairs now in the attic, and you can kind of see my problem where this is where it's coming through, and I kind of had to hog out a little bit of the stud. This is a true 2-inch wide by 4-inch deep board because it's so old. And then we can attach our box adapter to that. Glue our fittings together here. Okay, we'll go into the bottom of our box. We're just going to do this. And then the whole point of the box is that I'm going to transition to normal Romex so I don't have to run conduit all the way to my panel. I'm just going to kind of try to muscle my 3 conductors up through without a pull string or anything. We'll see how it goes. So now we just got to take our slack, curl it a little bit to help encourage it to go through the fitting. I think we're in. Cut this electrical tape off rather than mess around with trying to unravel it. And This is where we're going to transition to Romex or NMB. So I'm going to follow this existing conductor cable here through the wall studs. And again, I don't need number 12 necessarily, but since I ran number 12 out there, my preference is to be consistent. So you know what I forgot was my 15 amp circuit for my courtesy receptacle. So I'm gonna have to pull 2 more conductors through that conduit out there. But when I was getting my number 12 in here for the AC unit, I found it really hard to fish from the attic through the hole here. So I'm gonna go this way. All right, let's go upstairs and see if I can find this. There it is, sticking up right there. Okay, I pulled this too short because I'm an idiot. All right, I'll have to go get some more slack. Got myself enough wire here. You have to fasten your cable within 12 inches of the box per the NEC. And then you're supposed to have 3 inches of wire protruding from the box. And I think 6 inches from where it enters the box, but I'll double check and put it on the screen. I still got to get 2 more conductors down there for my courtesy receptacle. Okay, before I pull these extra conductors for the courtesy receptacle, I'm going to go ahead and take the white for the AC unit, and I'm going to mark it red because then there's no confusion as to whether it's a neutral for my courtesy receptacle or second hot leg for the 240 on the heat pump. Not the cleanest tape job here, but it'll work. I'm going to do the same inside once I get that far. I got to build this next time.
And the next time will come.
Stand over. Yeah. Can you watch up there and let me know if you see the red pop out? Thank you, that was very helpful. I really do need to just build one of these wire reels. I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it after this when I need an easier thing to do. Who am I kidding? I don't need things to do. I got too much to do. We got our panel cover off. So I've got my square D breaker, and to install these, you just tilt the end in just inside the neutral bar there, and then you just push in, and it engages, and there you go. Definitely want to leave that off while you're working on it. All right, I got my fiberglass fish tape here. Sneak this up through. Okay, we're back upstairs. First thing we're going to do here is tighten our Romex connector in. Okay, so we'll get the Romex stripped back. You want to leave a 1/4 inch of jacket coming into the box per code. That's a little sloppy, but you get it. So that is my heat pump circuit. Do you need to pre-twist your wire nut connections? You do not. Am I going to? Yes. Do I always? No. If you read the package on the wire nuts, you do not need to pre-twist. There's my hook. Let's go around the screw and the box. Courtesy receptacle I might change up later, so I'm going to use Wagos on this. Okay. You're not going to be able to see it on here, but I'll show you a picture. On the breaker, there's a picture of one wire, and it says AL/CU. So if you're using aluminum or copper, you can only do one wire under this breaker screw. But if you're just using copper, and both wires are copper, there's a picture of two wires, and then it says CU, which means you can land two copper wires on here. So you can't land an aluminum and a copper, but you can land two copper wires on here. A lot of home inspectors will automatically, note on a home inspection when you're buying a house that, hey, double tap breaker, that's a violation. Well, not if the breaker is listed for it. This breaker is listed for it. This is the breaker for the exterior lights, and I'm also going to put my exterior receptacle on it, and we are code compliant and good to go. We can get our panel button back up. Now, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take these two knockouts, these blanks out, because I added my breaker. Twist those out. Okay. So here's my mini split, 2-pole 20 amp, and my existing exterior light breaker. I just got to make some labels to amend my panel schedule. This is the faceplate I'm using. It's a little non-traditional. Usually you have the pull-out disconnects where you actually have a plastic piece that pulls out and breaks the connection, but I wanted a courtesy receptacle. So this just had a normal single pole switch in it. I bought a heavy-duty double pole switch, so it'll disconnect both of the hot legs, and it's rated for 240 volts and 20 amps. So our load's in the bottom, only because that's how it's labeled. I don't know that it matters, but we'll follow the labeling on the switch, because that's code to follow manufacturer's instructions. Just for good measure, I always like to be extra safe and just put electrical tape around devices, crowded devices. Let me say that again, around devices in crowded metal boxes. Like in the garage where I had one device in a 4-square box, yeah, I didn't bother, but here it's a little more crowded, so we'll do it. So you got these holes, you go in there and then you tighten the screw that way. There's no way to go directly under, so we'll go in the hole and then we'll tighten the screw. It's just a little different than I've seen. I don't know if I've seen that before. Okay, it's in there good. And these screws are pretty recessed, so I'm not going to bother taping them. Kind of wedges up in some dimples in the top, and then the screw goes in the bottom. Okay. All right. We are installed. All right. Let's turn the breaker on. Didn't trip. That's a good first sign. Let's go back outside. Okay, so this will show me 2 orange lights on the right if it's wired correctly. Let's hit reset. All right. So we're wired correctly. I don't know why it's not showing up on the camera. I can see it. There you go. It's something about the LED frequency. Anyway, this button will test the GFCI. And it tripped. Reset. We'll see if you can see them again. There we go. It's like I have to get the right angle on the camera. That's weird. So this is wired correctly. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Next time, we're going to get the indoor unit hung, get the line sets installed, get everything connected up and running. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you on the next one. God bless you guys.
Hello, I'm Jim Davis.